This week in the news, EA staff's afraid of making good games, GTA 6 leaks and damage control, Roblox in Australian hot water, and more on Old Man Rages at the News. Before we get the show on the road, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you enjoy the content. And we're starting off this week with a bit of technical magic. Skyrim modders not only managed to turn the game into a completely different game with some adult mods, or, well, you may look like it was made last year, but no, this case is a bit more interesting, let's put it like that, since they also made realistic snow deformation work in the game. Specifically, this mod that's being created by Joseph Rudberg, who also previously made other dynamic mods. So, the guy has a bit of an idea of what's going on, if I can put it lightly like that. Now, the dynamic snow mod is a community shader where the game generates snow automatically, and he elaborated further in the comments what is the difference between his mod and other mods currently in development. And to quote him, "The other mod seems to apply a snow blanket everywhere, but my mod allows full customization regarding which landscape textures create snow, and it's automatically compatible with Seasons of Skyrim, switches out landscape textures, and my mod will be able to detect those changes and apply snow automatically. The other mod also seems to ship its own snow texture mod, whereas mine applies whatever texture mod you're using for snow. It'll always look consistent. Also, the other mod seems to apply projected diffuse, but mine takes it a step further. Whenever there is a projected diffuse, the same texture used for landscape snow is applied there too, so there's never a mismatch between landscape snow and projected diffuse. On top of that, whenever there is a projected diffuse, mine creates 3D layers of snow on top instead of only applying a flat white snow texture. And as far as I can tell, my mod has built-in snow refill that slowly restores the snow to its original shape when it's snowing, essentially erasing the tracks you make, like real snow does. And leave it to the mad lad, he also posted another showcase of his mod, like how spells affect the snow. So yeah, the guy takes pride in his work, especially after that long-winded statement or breakdown of how the mod works. I have a rough idea what I'm gonna be doing next week then. In other news, EA staff fear that Saudi Arabia owners will police their games. No shit, Sherlock, they'll make you make games that actually get dollar bills. Then again, I don't think EA would know a good game if it hit them on the face, but, that's a different matter altogether. Now, to quote one of the employees, "The Crown Prince is not going to get on to a town hall and say we are no longer doing these things, but instead projects just won't get signed because they don't align exactly with what the Saudi government wants, or implicitly because EA will think, oh, we're going to try and cater these things to our owners because if we pitch something else, the government may not like or approve of it." Another employee said, "It's certainly hard to feel good about being bought out by a regime that's very much at odds with progressive society, so it's surely detrimental to anyone who finds this buyout morally odious. It's not a good feeling." Oh yes, because morals and feelings are the thing that put food on the table at the end of the day. Go on there, Chief. Go to the shop now and tell them that you'll pay morals and feelings, and let's see how that turns out. And apparently one of the Redditors beat me to the punch for this story. To quote him, "Well, your company failed because it didn't line up with your audience." So, yeah, let that sink in. Now, as much as I don't like to be the dead horse, let's not forget what EA did with Dragon Age. Dragon Age Veilguard, aka Failguard, failed not only because it pandered to an audience that they didn't have, but it also failed because of easily avoidable mismanagement. Hell, if the Saudis can force EA to get its shit together and actually make a good game, then as far as I can see, there's gonna be future for EA if that actually happens. Now, the morality of things, not my fight. Don't really care about it. If you're not happy with what happened and you work for EA, well, leaving the company is an option. That's all I'm gonna say. And now, like that leaking faucet that you can easily fix but don't bother because you're lazy, we got GTA leaks about GTA 6 before we got GTA 6. Now, as much as I'd like to discuss what's in the leaks and, just go over them, my 2 cents, well, either Rockstar or Take-Two or at this point maybe both of them have been taking down leaks like their lives depend on it. So I won't be able to do that for, obvious reasons. So instead, what we'll be talking about is CyberLeak, the group responsible for this week's case of corporate-driven insanity. Now, let's rip the band-aid off and start with their website, where they demand 3 things from Rockstar Games. 1 is no more digital pre-orders. Now, some people will say that this one feels weird because it can be a nice quality of life, like you buy the game a week before, then set it up to install and be ready for launch day. Now let's be real here, GTA 6 is not one of those games that should have a digital pre-order at this point, since outside of the leaks, if somebody saw them, we have no idea what the gameplay is. Hell, most of the games that have pre-orders have something that should represent the gameplay. But, yeah, let me remind you of Aliens Colonial Marines, where the segment they showed at one convention turned out to be a vertical slice made specifically for that convention and was not included in the game. So, yeah, I can see how and why CyberLeak will ask something like this. Now, the second thing they're asking for is not selling fake single-player DLC, aka things built into the base game but sold separately, and thirdly, preserve single-player content. Now that's something I can actually get behind, and especially if you've been around long enough to remember the From Ashes DLC for Mass Effect 3, the day one DLC that screams cut content from the game, since it was the moment you had that DLC and played it, it made so much sense for the story that it was unreal. Now, of course, the third point is quite close to stop killing games, but, they've already distanced themselves from the leaking group for obvious reasons. It's gonna damage the movement, give ammo to all the corporate idiots that want to sell you shit that you don't own and such. You get a point. Now, they also have a manifesto that criticizes the lack of physical discs for GTA 6 as well as what happened with the crew. In the manifesto, they also wrote, publishers should be aware if CyberLeak can reach Rockstar, no one is safe. This is a message to all big corpo, behave or be the next target. Now, what I find funny in all of this is that, as mentioned, Rockstar basically confirmed the leak. Well, at least confirmed as far as I'm concerned, since they're basically taking all of the footage down. Now, I'm not gonna give credit to CyberLeak or praise them, since they have a meme coin at the end of the day on their website, aka cryptocurrency that could potentially get rug pulled. So, this is a case of what? 2 retards fighting, and we on the sidelines are like, man, this shit looks good. Now, the group leaked a total of 5 gameplay related videos last week alone, and neither Rockstar nor Take-Two issued a statement about it. So that just tells me they're trying to sweep this shit under the rug. And also, again, indirectly confirms that the leaks might be a thing. Best way to make sure nobody bothers about something is to not mention it in the first place. You know, how many times have somebody asks, do we have toilet paper in your household? Before you checked if there is one. Then you go check and you figure out, oh wait, that's the last roll we're using. You know, cases like that. Now, despite there being leaked gameplay footage and stuff like that, there isn't a leaked gameplay version of GTA 6. If you find one of the links or sites that claim that they have a leaked version of the game, it's most likely malware. As far as I'm aware, and as far as what I can dig up, there isn't any trace of GTA 6 files online. As much as I wish there was, would have been a hell of a funny episode if that was the case. Then again, I can already smell this shit being leaked about, 4 or 5 days before the launch. You know, past games being leaked like that and whatnot. But anyways, yeah, the GTA 6 playable versions online that were quote-unquote leaked are most likely malware. Hell, you got even experts from NordVPN acknowledging that those links have been surfing the web. But with recent news of leaked footage and whatnot, those malware links claiming GTA 6 is there have seen a resurgence. Now, the CTO of NordVPN said, and I quote, "Every time GTA 6 makes headlines, leaked footage spreads through re-uploads, Discord links, and unofficial mirrors, which is exactly the environment where fake quote-unquote leak downloads and credential harvesting pages thrive. Fans looking for leaks or removed clips might land on unfamiliar sites, and in that moment they trust what they find. That's the window attackers exploit." And in a layman's terms, just in case somebody hasn't figured out the big words used here, don't pirate this shit. It's not a game. Hell, if you don't know how to sail the high seas, then I'd say don't do it, because you might ruin your rig in the best case scenario. Hell, you're better off waiting 4 or 5 years at most for the game to go on a 50% discount with all of the DLC included and all of the bug fixes that were made. You know, as it normally happens with AAA games when they try to squeeze more money out of people. Let's be real here. At that point, it might be even a completely better game, or might have caused the franchise to take a painful hit. Because let's be real here, at this point, this shit ain't gonna die. Now, if the game flops, obviously it's gonna be a big hit, but it's not gonna flat out kill the game, no matter how you look at it. GTA Online is a huge moneymaker. But anyways, that's a topic for another day, and maybe, depending on how lazy I feel, might not get made. And in what could be looked as a soft confirmation that the leaks hold water, pun intended, Take-Two subpoenaed Microsoft and Discord in order to obtain information about the leaker. Hell, they're asking both companies to give them any records related to online accounts involved with posting and sharing the leaks of the game. On Discord's end, they are asking for all user accounts that were in the Discord server that involved CyberLeague, Cinematic Rockstar, and Surfer 24KTM. Plus, the replacement handles CyberLeague Quest and SurfWest. And all of those servers they also included the Odyssey.gg. And for some reason, they also tagged the YouTuber Dark Viper server for some reason, even though he doesn't know anything and is confused by that move. Alright, my personal tinfoil hat theory on the Dark Viper server being tagged by this is, well, his community has a running joke that he's a voice actor in GTA. And that, I think, was the main reason why he got tagged. Because Take-Two has no fucking idea how to take a joke. Hell, it's crazy enough to work at this point or be true. Now, On the 20th of August, a judge granted the subpoena request, allowing Take-Two to obtain the needed information from Microsoft and Discord. The CTO of Xbox, Scott Van Vliet, did confirm that Microsoft is working with Take-Two and Rockstar in order to protect creative work and intellectual property. The Clown Fiesta doesn't end there though, cause the leaker is also selling ads to promote products on his videos. Ugh, yeah, this shit's going nuts. All I wanna know is who's the maniac that's gonna be crazy enough to buy a fucking ad placement on a leaked video. You know you're better off burning money at that point, right? Now, the best part of all this is the fucking price tag. It's 400 Monero XMR, which, for the record, is a cryptocurrency, and it converts to roughly $165,000. Fucking hell. I really want to know if there's someone crazy enough to do this shit at this point. I mean, $165,000 to get an ad for something that might not even last more than an hour on the internet is like, well, for lack of a better word, plain stupid. Hell, I'm pretty sure that amount of money can get you a bunch of sponsorship deals from YouTubers to promote whatever you're selling, and you're actually gonna get a bigger view range and a better, well, visibility. Wait, that falls under view range. You know, a longer duration stay on your ads, since it's going to be baked into the video as a sponsor segment. And because this is the internet and some people like to lick corporate assholes, there are a bunch of people trying to hunt down the GTA6 leakers. Why? Why would you even bother? Why would you leak a company's cloaca like that? Especially since a company like Take-Two will sell your ass in slavery if that means they could make money. Let's be real here. No company has the best interest in their consumers. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're Valve, EA, Blizzard, Take-Two, Microsoft. The company is out there to make money. Now, how they make that money depends on them. If they're looking at making short-term monetary gain or long-term monetary gain, hell, look at Blizzard and them churning out amounts and shit compared to Valve and them just saying, oh yeah, we're gonna run a game store and try to do the best customer service possible. Two sides of a single coin. One goes for long-term monetary gain and the other one goes for short-term monetary gain. Then you have a bunch of nitwits who think that they'll get some special bounty or something because they go full on 4chan. Well, at least the 4chan back in the days that used to do stupid shit like, off the top of my head, call in airstrikes by just playing GeoGuessr. Yes, I'm looking at you, SG and Paul. Yeah, for those who don't know, the 4chan boards, SG and Paul, back in the day, used to be involved in airstrikes in the Syrian campaign. I'm gonna leave a video going over the whole situation in the sources, or in the comments of the video, might be better. Just so that if you're interested, you can have a look, since it is a bit of a deranged case, like with anything 4chan did back in the days, just for shits and giggles. So yeah, you got bootleg 4chaners hunting down GTA6 leakers because they think that the company is gonna praise them and shower them with, what, shark tickets? I don't know. A bunch of morons, what they are. Company's not even gonna acknowledge them, let alone acknowledge the leaks publicly. Who knows? Might be wrong next week. The company, either Take-Two or Rockstar, might acknowledge the leaks. We'll see. And in other news, Roblox done goofed again because the Australian eSafety secures court-enforceable undertaking from Roblox to do more to protect Australian kids from predators. And no, I'm not talking about the ones that you find in the Australian outback or in your shoes when you wake up. I'm talking about the ones that do unspeakable things to kids. And arguably, this is the second best thing that came out from Australia. The first one being Neil the Seal videos. If you haven't seen that guy, look up Neil the Seal on YouTube. It's hilarious. Anyways, back to the story. To quote part of the website, eSafety accepted the undertaking following concerns that Roblox was not meeting its obligations under the Online Safety Act's code and standards, including allegedly failing to have sufficient measures in place to prevent contact between adults and children under 16. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I will still give flack for Australia for trying to police games, but I will say, this case, I can actually get behind since Roblox hasn't really proven themselves capable of doing shit like this, and, they decided to ban someone who was doing their job for them. Anyways, Australians eSafety even tested Roblox safety system, and they determined that it still continues to put children at risks, including allowing contact between children and adult strangers. eSafety found that adults could send connection requests to young Australian children without parental or carer consent. Children and adults could view and respond to one another's posts outside of the game environment, again without any parental or carer consent. And the cherry on top, the children's connections were visible to anyone on Roblox, which is one hell of a shit the bed moment, considering this allows for stalking. Oh yeah, I can see this guy going up and down this place constantly. What will happen if I go after him or start trailing him? I'll be a creep. Jesus fucking Christ. Roblox is probably the worst place to have children. Hell, give them Terraria, put a couple of mods there, and just let the kids loose. It's gonna be 2D, sure, but it's gonna be a little more entertaining than this shit. Hell, at this point, just put a private Minecraft server down and put your kid on that. But anyways, and lastly, as a kick in the teeth, the children's profile and biographies were available to everyone with no way to restrict visibility of the information. Meaning, little Timmy from Kangaroo Land is gonna be like, I like Vegemite. Meanwhile, some dipshit with a beer belly and questionable ideas of morality is gonna be like, oh, kid likes Vegemite. Yeah. Roblox is, delusional because it believes that it's meeting the obligations under the Online Safety Act, and the platform has committed to implement 3 additional measures. But too late on that one, Chief, don't you think? But anyways, those preventative measures are supposed to prevent adults from contacting unknown children without parental consent, strengthen the account settings of children account to be private by default. Yeah, mate, I think that one was common sense and should have been like that right out of the gate, you dumbasses. And accessible reporting mechanisms that notify users of complaint outcomes and engaging an independent third-party moderator to assess the efficiency of its safety measures, including the deployment of its age estimation measurement. Because we all know how that went last time, right? Roblox is gonna half-ass all this shit again, right? Especially since they have 3 months to implement those changes, and if they are found breaching the undertaking, eSafety may apply to the federal courts and basically twists Roblox's arm into complying. On one hand, I really want this to hit Australia's federal court. It's clear that Roblox otherwise is not going to do jack shit here. But on the other, for the love of God, exposing kids to people who literally need medical incarceration, let's call it like that, since, insane asylums and straitjackets sounds more cartoony at this point. This is beyond me. How am I not surprised as well that Roblox is failing hard? In the shit they promised, no less. Fucking hell. And now for rapid fire news. WoW is back on the menu cause apparently people's characters started moving after a disconnect. In one of such cases, an evoker disconnected during a fight but continued attacking, and in another case, a warrior disconnected and 30 seconds later charged into the boss and started attacking again. Now, this is likely the newish NPC dungeon follower thing that they added to the game. Instead of the character just standing in the fire, staring into the abyss of death, like that one person I know, and yes, this was added to call them out. An AI could potentially save the character from dying while the actual player reconnects. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised if there happened to be a strategy where you tell somebody who's so low performing on the totem pole that he could be outperformed by AI to just disconnect and not log back in. Now, all of this is, well, just me guessing what this could be, let's be honest, since nobody right now knows, and Blizzard hasn't said anything about it. So take all of the information you see online for this with a grain of salt. And now, for what, well, at this point is just another weekly occurrence, someone made an official port of the original Doom game, and it runs on a Canon DSLR camera. What's next? Somebody porting over Doom to run on ChatGPT? Well, then again, that might or have already happened. Anyways, the port was created by someone who has a weird sounding name to me, and if I try to say the name or pronounce it, I have a feeling that I wouldn't only mispronounce it, but I will assemble an entire IKEA furniture set in the apartment I live in. So, the name is on the screen if you want to take a shot at it. Anyways, the software used to do this port is called Magic Lantern, which is an open source firmware add-on for Canon cameras. It even has save and load feature packed into it, and for anyone curious, these are the instructions for the installation. Moving on, 2XKO's active development will end in December 2026, and for those who are unaware, that's a free-to-play fighting game made by Riot Games set in the universe of League of Legends. Riot Games is closing development for the game because there aren't enough players actively playing the game. Any money spent on the game on or before 20th of August will be refunded, and any owned content is kept for the player. They even admitted the game costs substantially more to operate than it brings in, with engagement staying flat despite the larger updates. Damn, finally someone who doesn't mince their words. And in other news, and mainly just to remind people why I don't trust Sony at all, they terminated Stonks 9800 without an explanation. According to the developer Turnox Games, Sony unilaterally terminated their PlayStation developer and publisher agreement with no reason whatsoever. Thankfully, Sony did restore Turnox Games' ability to sell his games on PlayStation, but there's a caveat. Ovoid and Finger Fitness had to be removed from the store. Best part of all this is the reason given for Ovoid's removal is because the Platinum Trophy is too easy to get. And to wrap up the week, the former Dishonored designer opens a new studio to continue to focus on immersive sims. Harvey Smith opened a new game studio called Black Pony Immersive, and it will focus on the immersive sim genre. To quote one of his statements, "My favorite gaming memories come from seeing players approach challenges with creativity, deep diving into our world building. We try to reward players for their curiosity and exploration. At our new studio, we're building exactly the kind of single-player games we're most passionate about." Oh boy, I would like to see how he does it considering how good Dishonored 1 and 2 were. Hell, he even is carrying the torch for the immersive sim genre, even going as far as saying, "Always until I'm dead." Like, dude, I'm happy that you're willing to take up that banner, but calm down and get some breaks now and then. Just don't burn out the torch. Because, you know, if there isn't anybody left afterwards to pick up the torch, it's gonna be pointless. And on that note, that's all for this week's All Man Rages at the News. Well, you know the drill. Hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see y'all next week.